4 minutes until showtime. 3 minutes until showtime. 2 minutes until showtime. 1 minute until showtime. 'Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Insurrection, obstruction, indictments, civilly liable for sexual abuse. The one man responsible for all that could be sitting in a prison cell on election day and still be elected commander-in-chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO the last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stayed at his properties. He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is re-elected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell the MAGA folks no more before it's too late. you from New Orleans, Louisiana, to join the conversation. It is area code 914-803-4131. That's 914-803-4131. If you happen to be listening on the Blog Talk Radio and are watching that chat room, just go ahead and come on over to the Liberal Dan Radio chat on YouTube. And Jolie just did something funny, one of the mods. I was wondering why she was logged into her non-mod account, but there you go. She's switching back. Good for a laugh on a Monday. Anyway, so if you're... so come join us in the chat over on the YouTube chat. Come all in one place. It's easier that way. Welcome back, Jolie. And if you're listening after the live broadcast, you could always leave your comments over on liberaldan.com, facebook.com/liberaldanradio, at liberaldanradio on Twitter, or again on the YouTube thread at youtube.com/liberaldanradio as well. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel whenever it is that you are watching it. And remember to always like and comment on several videos just to get the algorithms up there to help get more traction to the channel, because we're 267 subscribers away from being able to get to that threshold to be monetized, and hopefully we will get there, and hopefully we'll get there sooner rather than later. So we'll see. Anyway, we got a caller already. What's going on?
Dan?
I know it was you, Wes. What's going on, Wes?
Hey, I love you back, buddy. I set the phone down already. I thought you were going to make me wait.
No, man. I saw it was you. I wasn't getting in anything too heavy yet, so I figured I'd get to Wes first. So what's going on, Wes? How's your day? How's your Monday?
Pretty good. I haven't done much. Been to the drugstore and back and got some test strips for a friend, and that's about it. Looking at cars.
Cool. What kind of cars?
I've been looking at electric cars.
Cool. Well, the Republicans are all scared of those. They're all afraid of the electric car. Oh no.
I've been looking at this Tesla S Plaid.
Mm-hmm.
But when they are used, they go pretty fast. I shouldn't even say this online because make people more worried if they want one, because they're hard to get. And I have a salesman that's going to call me when they get one that I would like.
Right.
But they cost twice as much as I've ever spent on a vehicle in my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe
and
you'll save on
if
gas.
I want to go down, but if I want to go down to see my sister in Atlanta, let's say,
right,
or my friends and cousins and stuff in Florida, or where I love it in South Padre Island in Texas, it costs a fortune in extra hotel nights because you can't get there as fast. And a whole lot of extra time in just waiting for the stinking thing to get charged.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. So, sometimes...
Adds 3, 4, 5 hours to a trip.
Sometimes I was thinking that, for some people who do longer trips, maybe hybrid vehicles are better for them and not the full-on electrics. Because that way you get the best of both worlds. You can have the gasoline that you can use in a pickle, but you can have the electric that you can use in the short terms for the short drives and not burn as much gasoline as you would normally use. So your demand and use of fossil fuel still goes down anyway. So.
And do you know what?
Do
you know what?
What?
I'm not going to say chicken, but you know what? There's a new there's hybrid plug-in hybrids You cannot find them right now.
Yeah, because
You
a lot of
just
people
can't
want to. I mean,
find
well, it was
them.
ridiculous. Like during the pandemic, like people were trying to get the Teslas, and used Teslas were going for more than new ones. Like people were buying Teslas and then immediately flipping them, and Tesla was cracking down on it and basically not letting people buy new Teslas because they were mad that people were flipping them and like just making money off of them. And I'm like, well, why not just increase the price of your Teslas? If people were having such high demand for them, then why, it's why don't get mad at the people for being able to make a buck. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and they have gone down a little bit, but they're still asking what I think is way too much.
Right.
A low miles S Plaid is going, you can get them for like 140 or so, good ones, new, but you have to wait for one with only like a couple thousand miles on it. So
Right.
I think it's like you say, people are playing it, and you can get them for like, 80, 90,000 bucks with hardly any miles on them and looking pretty good. Although they don't come easy, and you know what? You have to pay for them before you get to see the car.
That's kind of silly.
You have to make the deal. I'm not lying.
I don't disbelieve you.
Otherwise, somebody else will buy it from under you, sight unseen.
Oh, because people view it as a status symbol.
The only one I got to see.
My youngest son is obsessed with Teslas. My youngest son is so obsessed with Teslas, it's crazy. And look, Teslas are like those people. Some of the people who drive Teslas are like a cult. Like my children, like my oldest son had to use the bathroom like really, really bad, and we were stopped at a Florida rest stop, and there was no place to park except for the fact that there was a whole bunch of empty Tesla charger places. So I was like, look, I'm just going to stop here. If somebody needs this particular spot, like, move the car. But for right now, we're just going to pull in here. I'll bring my son in to go to the bathroom or whatever, and then we'll come back and we'll leave. And as we're getting out, the guy was like, this spot is for Teslas only. And he was all like and he literally had a fanny pack on, like, like he was a typical male Karen. And I was like, my wife's in there. If somebody needs this one after the other 7 fill up, she can move the car for somebody. And he was like, but it's for the Teslas. And I was like, okay, Karen, bye. And I just walked away. I was like,
that's like using the handicap stall in the bathroom when there's like 100 other ones available.
Well, the
I have it.
Well, no, I mean that's the opposite of that, because there were no other spots available. There was only the Tesla stalls available. But are you trying to say that the people who drive Teslas have disabilities? I don't know. Anyway, so
no, I'm trying to say if there's a whole bunch of other ones ready, why do they? Oh, there was only one Tesla spot?
There was many Tesla spots available except for one person using it. There was no other parking spots available, period. Like all the other parking was taken.
Yeah, that's what I see too around Rockford at least. And they always have, there are other ones, but starting soon, maybe not the beginning of next year, but sometime, Ford and GM and Tesla have made a deal about using each other's quick charge stations.
Right.
So now there's like 12,000 Tesla stations and 10,000 Ford stations. That are really fast. Not not 240 volts are everywhere.
Right.
But the really fast ones are not that easy to find except around interstates.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but a lot of times you go there and there are like every single stall to plug in is empty. So there's a whole row of parking. I always thought it'd be cool to get a Tesla and then plug it in and then go in and shop. And right now I could, but I've heard of places that all of the stalls are really, are filling up, and they get mad if you go away while you're charging.
We have the weirdest thing where there's like on the road, there's one road that if I'm driving my youngest son to school, and I take it's on a road, it's not next to anything significant. It's just on the road, and it's just one lone electronic vehicle charger, just on the side of the road. I don't know if it's Tesla or not, but it's an electronic vehicle charger that's just right there on the road. Like, there's like the New Orleans Recreational Department is like back from it, and like there is a college, like a satellite campus for a college, like on the other side of the street. But it's not like in a parking lot or anything. It's just right on the side of the street.
Just
like,
that random.
It's just a random thing just right there. And I'm just like, what? It's bizarre. Anyway.
Yeah. Silly Wonka is giving me coaching.
You can't leave a Tesla at a charger after it's charged, or you get charged $1 per minute. Damn. That's some toughness right there. You got to make sure to set your alarm. Be like, all right, it's about to be charged. Got to go run back and move it. So, anywho,
yeah, I think I could probably manage. They said it's like 20 minutes generally, but yeah, it is kind of difficult to think about how much it's going to cost compared to gasoline.
Right.
But anyway, Silly Wonka was shaming me into looking at the Ford, and actually I kind of like it. It's not like the S. It's a lot more like the Y. And I kind of like the Ford just because it's a union vehicle. Hey, Elizabeth.
Yes. Go Union. Anywho,
the union makes us strong.
Anywho, let me go ahead and let you go so I can get to the other topics of the show. But thank you for calling in. Love you as always, Wes.
Okay, Danny, go ahead with your diatribe. I love listening to you. You know what? By the end of the show, I'm almost always asleep.
Well, I
haven't even had that much to drink tonight.
Well, apparently we have a very cute dog watching the show too, so that's a good thing about it. Thank you so much for the calling in. Yes, a very cute pup. I got a picture of the cute pup watching the show.
That Aaron has?
I'm not telling. It's my secret.
Okay, don't tell me.
All right, have a good one, Wes. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Anywho. So anyway, shouts out Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, for joining. Jolie, Aaron, the Mod Squad, Silly Wonka, Elizabeth, Jeff, who else? Wes, of course, the other Jolie account. That gave me a good chuckle. I don't think I've missed anybody else who's currently here. We do have 10 viewers, so thank you for all for joining. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Hal Sparks. It is Hal's birthday today. If it wasn't for Hal, I wouldn't have as many viewers, as many subs as I have currently. So I appreciate Hal for everything he's done. So for my show and for everything in general. And so I did give him a good super chat, a little bit of a super chat today. Anywho, so let's see what we want to talk about today. Let's nerd out a bit, even though I'm only doing one Nerdy Dan stream a week now. I do want to nerd out a little bit because of something cool that happened over the weekend. NASA asteroid sample lands safely in Utah. It was a 7-year mission. The scientists went up, launched a spacecraft. The satellite went out to the asteroid named Bennu, Bennu, and it went out there. It searched for a spot to go in. It picked up a bunch of rocks and dirt from the asteroid. It then came back to Earth and landed on Earth successfully. And now we have a bunch of space rocks and dirt that are sealed in this little black container, and they're taking it back to, I think, Houston, where where they will be opening it up in a clean room where none of Earth's contaminants can get to it. So it'll be a very so they'll be able to take a look and see these rocks that have been around that are older than Earth. They said the black pebbles and dirt are older than the planet Earth itself. So when somebody says that somebody is older than dirt, it's these black pebbles and dirt that are coming from this spacecraft. So, but I thought that was pretty neat, that these people took all this time to, plan this mission and to get it done, and it worked successfully, and they were able to get this stuff and get the samples and bring it back to Earth. Of course, at the end of the day, the only thing I thought of was, this is how bad horror sci-fi movies start, because they go collect something from the big old space rock that's floating around in space, and they bring it to Earth, and all of a sudden you get Venom or something like that. So let's see. So my local Harbor Freight has a free 2020 volt charging. Bosch charger, very nice of them. Let's see. Mind blowing, really. It's amazing that they were able to get it, and that they were able to land it and do everything. It's amazing what happens when you trust scientists to do their jobs correctly. This started during, when did it start? 7 years ago. So it started in 2016. So I guess it started at the end of the Obama administration. It's amazing what happens when you trust scientists to do their jobs. Let's see. It launched in 2016 and 2018, and it finally reached Bennu, a rubble pile of an asteroid about the size of the Empire State Building. It tagged along with the space rock for 2 years. In 2020, it dipped down and briefly touched Bennu to gather a sample. They weren't sure how much rock they collected, and they knew they'd only find out if it made it home. It did make it home. The capsule entered the atmosphere at 36 times the speed of sound, fell towards military training range in Salt Lake City. The parachutes came out. Without the parachute, it might have crashed landed and broken open. They heard the main chute detected, and so everyone was super happy about that. You saw all the nerds jumping up and down and cheering, which was awesome. Because, I'm a nerd too, and I like to see nerds being very excited about nerdy things. So, it only costs $20 million an ounce. Nice. So anyway, I thought that was rather cool that happened. So I wanted to just give them some shouts out on my podcast, because, I think that, science is neat, and I think that scientists, especially in the age that we're in, with so many people in our country who want to reject science, especially the science of pandemics and stuff like that. But they just want to reject all sorts of science altogether. I just think that we need to give scientists their due and make sure that they get the credit that they deserve, because without them, we would be in the dark ages, so to speak. And it's funny, like, imagine where we would be had they not burned the Library of Alexandria. Imagine how far into the future we could have been had all those findings had not been destroyed, so to speak. So had we not had the Black Plague, had we not had people who consistently fought against science in the name of religion. And that's always been my thought, even when I was, a practicing Jewish person, and even when I, went to synagogue frequently, not constantly, but frequently, when I fasted. I didn't fast. Shout out to all my Jewish people who did fast today. I hope your fast was an easy fast. I hope you were written into the good book. And even when I was, I never thought that science and religion had to conflict. Like, that's not something that, as somebody who was raised Jewish, I was raised to believe. And I was never taught that science had to conflict with, your Jewish beliefs, that they could go hand in hand. So there's no reason why you have to, take things hyper literally. Days doesn't have to mean days. It could mean time periods. You could believe that if you believe in God, you could believe that, God would create things to evolve, for example. So, anywho. But no, you have people who say if it's not in the Bible, it doesn't count. And so those people are part of the problem, and those people are part of the, those poorly educated folks that who likes.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anywho. So, one of the main topic of the show today, though, is and we can talk about other things as well. We can go all over the place today. It's not a very planned show today, but one of the things I did want to talk about today was U.S. Senator Bob Menendez. He's not somebody who is a stranger to issues. Ethics issues. Now, today, he said he was exonerated, but last time, Bob Menendez was exonerated as much as Donald Trump was exonerated at his impeachment trial. Like, Donald Trump wasn't exonerated because of his impeachment. He just wasn't removed from office because impeachment was a political thing, and his political people protected him politically. They didn't rule on the facts of the issue at all. Menendez wasn't found not guilty in his last offenses that he was charged with. Menendez was not found guilty, but he was a hung jury. Like, they didn't find him, so of course by law he has to be treated as if he's innocent of the charges. But it was a hung jury. He wasn't exonerated. It was a hung jury. And in reality, the Senate did find that he did do those things of which he was charged, and did, I guess, censure him of some sort. Did a censure of some sort of him. So the Senate Ethics Committee did find that he previously did do the naughty things of which he was accused of doing. And now he is alleged by the FBI, the Justice Department, to have done more naughty things again. According to the Justice Department press release, Robert Menendez allegedly agreed to use his official position to benefit Wael Hanna, Jose Uribe, Fred Dibus, and the government of Egypt in exchange for hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes to Menendez and his wife Nadine Menendez, which included gold bars, cash, and a luxury convertible. Now, in today's press conference, which I watched, he talked about the cash. He said, well, I'm from Cuba, and my family has a history of, storing cash in our house because we're afraid that it could get seized from the banks. So therefore, we typically would take cash out of the banks and store it in our houses. Okay. Well, what about the gold bars? Did your family have a history of taking out gold bars and storing it in your house too? Are you buying gold from like the Sean Hannity gold sales people or the Tucker Carlson gold sales people, but actually buying real gold instead of investing it, buying it from, you have it you have it somewhere else? What about the car? You didn't mention anything about the car either. You just mentioned the money. You didn't mention the gold bars, and you didn't mention the car. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said, as the grand jury charged between 2018 and 2022, Senator Menendez and his wife engaged in a corrupt relationship with Wael Hanna, Jose Uribe, Fred Dibus, three New Jersey businessmen who collectively paid hundreds. No, I wonder if Jose Uribe is the same Jose Uribe that's a sports figure. Jose Uribe. Jose Uribe is a Dominican athlete. Let's look up if it's the same Jose Uribe. The ultimate player to be named later. February. Oh, that's not the same Jose Uribe. Jose Uribe was killed at age 47 in 2006 in a car crash. So no, the Jose Uribe in this case is not the same Jose Uribe that was in baseball. So let's continue. So including cash, gold, and Mercedes-Benz, and other things of value in exchange for Senator Menendez agreeing to use his power and influence to protect and enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt. My office is firmly committed to rooting out corruption without fear or favor, and without any regard to partisan politics. We will continue to do so. So innocent until proven guilty, right? Just like Trump is innocent until proven guilty under the law. So the law is required to treat them as innocent until proven guilty. But the facts the law does not require me or anybody else to have that opinion. We can look at the facts of the case and reach our own opinions of what's going on. So here are the facts of the case as listed as part of the subpoena in the press release. Between 2018 and 2022, Menendez and Nadine Menendez agreed to and did accept hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of bribes from Hannah Diabes and Uribe. These bribes included gold, cash, and luxury convertible payments towards Nadine Menendez's home mortgage, compensation for a low or no-shore job for Nadine Menendez, home furnishings, and other things of value. In June 2022, the FBI executed a search warrant at the New Jersey home of Menendez and Nadine Menendez. I don't know why they just didn't say the Menendezes. During that search, the FBI found many of the fruits of this bribery scheme, including cash, gold, the luxury convertible, and home furnishings. Over $480,000 in cash. Now, I don't know about you, but if I had cash for a rainy day, maybe I would keep $1,000 on me. Maybe. I think there was one point where I don't want to get into the whole story as to why all of this money was sent to us. It's a long, convoluted story. But somebody had sent us a bunch of cash and via the mail. But it turned out that they weren't really in a good mental state. And so we paid them back the money that they sent us because they really didn't mean to send us all that cash. It was not right of us for us to keep the cash. I would have loved to have kept the cash, trust me, but it was not ethically right to keep the cash. So instead of sending the cash back, we mailed a check. So that's much safer to mail the check back in the mail than mailing like $3,000 worth of cash. So at one point, I had $3,000 of cash in my house. But I wouldn't purposely go take out, over the course of however many years, tens of thousands of cash and have it sitting around in my house, let alone 100,000 in cash, let alone over 480,000 in cash. At some point, I'd put some in a bank, unless the cash needed to be, laundered or was somehow otherwise unclean and you didn't want it to be tracked anyway. So the fact that he's sitting on $480,000 in cash already doesn't pass the smell test. B, much of those cash was stuffed into envelopes, and the envelopes were hidden in clothing, closets, and stuff. So if I had $480,000 in cash in my house, I would want all of that money to be in a safe. I wouldn't hide it in clothing. I would want all of that money to be in a safe. And also, $70,000 in cash was found in Nadine Menendez's safe deposit box, which was also searched pursuant to a separate search warrant. Some of the envelopes which contained the cash contained the fingerprints and or DNA of Daibes, the second person named of the businessmen who were involved in this bribery scheme, or his driver. Other of the envelopes were found inside jackets bearing Menendez's name and hanging in his closet as depicted below. Now, if it's as we are led to believe by Senator Menendez, if he goes to the bank and gets out cash like some, Cuban people might do, if we're supposed to believe his Cuban, I'm a Cuban, I don't trust banks, I don't trust the government, even though he works for the government as elected official. If we're supposed to believe his, I go out and take all this money out of the bank because I don't trust it, it's not going to be taken away from me, whatever story, why the hell would it have this individual's DNA or fingerprints on the envelope? Doesn't pass the smell test. No way in hell does it pass the smell test. That's why he needs to resign. So as I say up here, when we're as liberals, as leftists, as progressives, if we're going to claim the moral high ground on issues like integrity, on issues like, on supporting good government and wanting to actually get corrupt people out of government, like, your Trumps and your Gateses and your Boberts and all your other horrible people on the right, you need to also look on your own side as well, because you can't claim the moral high ground if you're not going to use it to throw the people next to you off of it if they prove that they're also being unethical. So during the same search, agent found home furnishings provided by Hannah and Daibes, the luxury vehicle paid for Uribe, parked in the garage, as well as over $100,000 worth of gold bars, which were provided by either Hannah or Daibes. 2 of the gold bars Daibes provided depicted in photographs in the Justice Department at justice.gov. I'll give a link in the chat just so you can see it. In exchange for these and other things, the value, Menendez agreed to use his power and influence as the senator to seek and protect Hannah Uribe Daibes' interests and to benefit the government of Egypt. Now, look, I don't know what actions that Menendez took with the Justice Department. Menendez recommended that the president nominate a U.S. attorney who Menendez believed he could influence with respect to Daibes and sought to disrupt a federal criminal prosecution undertaken by U.S. attorneys, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Promised action to benefit Egypt. Shortly after she began dating Menendez in 2018, Nadine Menendez worked with Hannah to introduce Egyptian intelligence and military officials to Menendez. These introductions helped establish a corrupt agreement in which Hannah, with the assistance of Daibes and Uribe, provided bribes to Menendez and Nadine Menendez in exchange for Menendez's actions to benefit Egypt. As part of the scheme, Menendez provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials, yada, yada, yada. So, look, as to whether or not he did all this stuff, that's up to the jury to decide. I'm not there. I can't know, what have you. That's going to be up for the jury to decide. But you already have a situation where you have an individual who's a U.S. senator with almost $500,000 in cash, or over $500,000 in cash, either in a safety deposit box of your wife or in your own house. And some of that money is in an envelope containing the fingerprints and or DNA of one of the other people who's you're accused of committing crimes with. I think it's time for you to just go. See ya. Vaya con Dios, mi amigo. Adios, my friend. Like, Wes, gonna soon be illegal to pay the lawn boy in cash. Now, look, that's just because, you can pay the person doing your lawn in cash. That's completely different than paying somebody hundreds of thousands of dollars. Come on. Jeff Curry, I got a great spot where I'm hiding in cash. It's called a wallet. Yes, Jeff, but do you have a wallet that can hold $480,000 in cash? So they go into some of the people. Robert Menendez, 69, nice, of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, is charged with one count of conspiracy to commit bribery, one count of conspiracy to commit honest services fraud, one count of conspiracy to commit extortion under color of official right, which carries a maximum sentence of 20. So he could get 20, 20, and 5, but there's sentencing guidelines that come into play, whatever. Nadine Menendez, same charges. Wael Hanna, age 40. Jose Uribe, 56. Fred Daibes, 66. All charged with one count of conspiracy to commit bribery and one count of conspiracy to commit honest services fraud, which gets 20 years. Statutory maximum penalties described in Congress are provided here for informational purposes only. Any sentencing would be determined by a judge. Yada, yada, yada. So, yeah. Hey, Robert, going on? Appreciate you for stopping by. Shouts out to you as being one of my patrons. Let's see. Wes, 240,000 is a brick about an inch thick, depending on what type of bills you use, right? Depending on if it's singles or hundreds, right? Let's scroll back to the chat to see if what we missed. Do. Elizabeth, I think it was a setup, at least in part. Doesn't mean I think he's innocent. I want to look up New Jersey law. I think Democrats can appoint his replacement. You are correct, Elizabeth. That's what I was going to get to next. Is that in New Jersey, the governor can absolutely appoint his replacement. It's not a special election. The governor would just simply appoint his replacement. We have a Democratic governor, so you wouldn't have to worry about any shenanigans of, waiting for, a replacement to come in. The Democrat could appoint somebody. There's argument as to who it would be. There's like a bunch of people who might consider vying for the position, and I'm of the opinion, of course, it's New Jersey, so my opinion means nothing. I live in Louisiana, but my position would be like to be the least controversial of it. Especially if you want to give the voters a chance to make a decision as to who should be the real replacement in a real election. The choice should be give it to somebody who's going to be a placeholder or somebody who's going to be there's another word that I found that somebody used in some article that I thought was the perfect word, and now I can't remember it. But somebody who would basically safeguard the seat for the rest of the term, and who would be there to just represent the state for the duration for the unexpired term, and then not run for re-election, and then all those other people could then run for re-election, for the open seat, and then there you go. Then they all have an equal playing field for trying to be the replacement for now Menendez. But Menendez is, from my opinion, and from what it clearly seems to be the facts of this case, there's a lot of corruption here. There's at least smells like a lot of corruption here. And you had the previous smell of corruption, which the previous Senate seemed to believe that there was a lot of corruption going on, which is why they did whatever they did. I don't know if it was a censure or not, but he needs to go. And I loved some of the responses from John Fetterman. John Fetterman was just like, he wants to give back the campaign contributions that Menendez gave to Fetterman, but he wants to give it back in an envelope filled with $100 bills. And I'm just like, wow, that's just petty. And I'm totally here for it. I'm totally here for that level of petty. And he said what was the other thing he said? I think he was on Twitter. Let's see. Fetterman tweets Menendez. Try it again. Doop, 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 doop. Let's take just a gander. Oh, I have like 20 notifications. People have gone crazy. Senator Menendez should resign. He's entitled to a presumption of innocence, but he cannot continue to wield influence over national policy, especially given the serious and specific nature of the allegations. I hope he chooses an honorable exit and focuses on his trial. Jeff Tiedrich tweeted John Fetterman still a boss, but this title of the article is John Fetterman still an effing boss. Let's see. Let's see. Boo. Trying to see what else he said. So last February, everyone think on John Fetterman. Continue reading. This is about the dress code thing. I think that's still about the dress code. That wasn't about anything having to do with that. I don't know. It was very, very epic one. Never hire a one-footed lawn boy. That's a dead giveaway. Bobert is so happy with this Menendez guy. Well, yeah. I mean, all the attention was on her for a pretty long time, for at least a good weekend until the Menendez thing came out. And she's like, whew, I can go back to giving handies in the theater again. Yeah, Bobert, was listening to the Alanis Morissette song, and she was like, I would go down on him in a theater. No, it's maybe he has maybe it's a personal account that he has. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. There's his personal accounts. Let's see what the personal account has to say. Oh yeah, Menendez. So somebody tweets out, Menendez doesn't mention the gold bars, but he says huge cash stash found at his home. $480,000 was for emergencies. This may seem old-fashioned, but this is money drawn from a personal savings account based on income I have lawfully derived over 30 years. John Fetterman quotes it and says, we have an extra flashlight in our home for emergencies. What else? Is there anything else that he said? That was that was the one I couldn't remember. Yeah, he has a flashlight for emergencies, not $480,000 in cash just laying around his house. Elizabeth, soda straw sound, exactly. I don't know. Does Republican sex make that much sound, Elizabeth? I can't imagine it does. Seems to me that would be quite boring. Are you done yet? I need to go watch Tucker Carlson. I don't think the Republicans have quite figured out that if it did it doggy style, that they could both watch Tucker Carlson together at the same time. Tim and I, when I was about 10, I mowed grass for bank my dad worked for. A rock flew out, a push mower, and hit my shin. People asked Mom and Dad why I curse so much. That sucks. Like, I remember, like, something hitting me or whatever when that happened. A lot of things. A lot of people tweeting at me. Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to go through all that another time. This is all people just being ridiculous on Twitter. Watch Tucker with the subs on. That's giving a lot of credit to the people who watch Tucker, because that assumes they can read. Although, of course, Elizabeth, the only straws that are in the Donald Trump Jr. house would be the ones that they use for the cocaine. So the sounds that are being made with those straws are and not so. Oh, Dane Cook is trending. Oh, god damn. God. Somebody got... I've hated Dane Cook's comedy longer than his new wife has been alive. Damn. Like, it's just Dane Cook's like 50. His wife is 24. They've been dating for 6 years. That's... Tucker going on Russian TV. We like Tucker. He's a good guy. What you have problem with Tucker? He give us good conversation points. He defend us when other people don't. Oh god, if you're defending Dane Cook for marrying a 24-year-old after 6 years of dating her, or make excuses for Russell Brand allegedly doing horrible things, I'm not sure what to say. Oh lord. Yeah. See, Dane Cook is basically the epitome of this whole alpha male crap where they're trying to date people young, which MTG, you see, she's a tantric sex genie. If she rubs something, I don't want to know what she rubs. Just leave it at that. I don't want to know what she rubs. Does tantric sex include cuckoldry though? Because apparently she likes to do that. But I understand though, because you had this whole obsession. The conservatives for a long time now, or at least 3, 4, 5 years, have had this obsession with the term cuck, and they've had this huge obsession with that term. And now they love Marjorie Taylor Greene, so maybe that's why they love her, because she cuckolded her husband. So maybe that's why they love her so much, because they hope that she can do that to them next. I don't know. You're ewing me and Wes? Usually it's just Wes that you ew. I'm gonna cry now. Anywho. So, those are the big things that I wanted to talk about. But, of course, let's see. Lumpy... wait. I'm lost about the lumpy pillows. Are we talking about the pillow guy, like the My Pillow guy? Is that what we're talking about, or is there something else that I'm missing? I don't even want to know. I don't think. So, hold on. Let's do this. All right, we are going to Pablo Banks stand. You're not. If you have that on, Bob, you're not standing by him. You're standing behind him. That's a topic of conversation. We're treading into areas where we should have to save it for if we ever launch Liberal Dan After Dark. So Wes, 2 girls for every boy sounds about right. 2 boys for every girl requires a little bit of imagination. I mean, not if you go to certain adult websites. I'll just leave it at that. So anywho, let's go ahead to the alt. Let's see if this is gonna work, or if we're gonna go into the infinite stream. Oh, look, it works, sort of. Yeah, it's the same. It's good. I'm seeing one video, but I'm also looking at the comment of the video. Okay, so because we want to adjust this for that. And I want to adjust this for this, because I want to be able to see both me, because we want to record it for a short, because I want to actually make this a YouTube short, because the other ones didn't work as a YouTube short. So I want to actually be able to make this into a YouTube short. Let's collapse this if I can. Come on. Okay. Lindell lost it during his testimony when he asked about dealing with a customer complaints about his lumpy pillows. He went berserk. Ah, okay. Aaron, I don't need much of imagination for that. Oh my. Anywho. So I keep looking down here looking for my image. My image is up there. So that's the problem with having multiple whatchamacallits, I guess. Is I'm trying to find the thing here, but it's up there, and then my camera's up there. So we're gonna do a couple of the coming to terms with coming to terms. That's I'm mixing up my two playlists. There's the coming to terms with activism, and then there's unraveling toxic masculinity. So there was one video where I'm talking about this, and this person made this point. So I was basically like, look, I'm gonna make this point on Monday's show and clip that video. So we'll start that, and we'll start there, and there was another comment that I wanted to make a video about as well, but I can't seem to find that in my notifications. I don't know if he deleted it or if just YouTube is hiding it or what happened. So I might have to search for that real quick because I thought it was in my notifications and it kind of disappeared. So let's see. Jeff Curry, watching a race yesterday, I had a great idea to improve a race car, just make it faster than all the others. It may have been stoned. I thought it was really into something. I mean, I think you should run with it. I think that's a good idea. John Deff, my mother-in-law got a mic pillow from her MAGA daughter, truly cheap and awful. Wait, is the pillow cheap and awful, or is the MAGA daughter truly cheap and awful? That's what I want to know. So, anyways, let's go ahead and start. So on one of my videos on the unraveling toxic masculinity, I had this comment about housework doesn't come with 90% of the workplace-related deaths being male. These are two totally different levels of work. Well, here's some of the things that you aren't considering with this comment. First of all, that we have, through the entirety of humanity, all of humankind, we've had a situation where women have been diverted away from all of the jobs that might be dangerous, and they've been many times for the entirety of humanity pushed into the home to do that work. So you can't blame women for society forcing them into that way. Second of all, that stat is not correct because housework is work, but I bet you it doesn't include all of the deaths that are caused by abusive husbands. So until that stat includes abusive husbands and the deaths caused by them, it's not an accurate statistic. So that's my rant on that one, and that should be short enough to make into a YouTube short. Yes, let's do a reset. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central here on YouTube. If we to support the show, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to like videos, comment on videos, share videos. If you like any of the videos, if you think other people might benefit from watching some of the videos, share those as well. I have some ones that I put a lot of work into, like the GOP coup series. I think I put a lot of good work into that. I think those are really good. You have some of the other ones that I think that I really like. You might want to share those, but go through them. Just don't share the ones about the whatchamacallit. The ones where the stop the coup videos, don't worry about those. I'm not worrying about that plan anymore. That's kind of out the window. That was a big nothing burger, and so we're not worrying about that. So yes, we're Monday and Wednesdays now. I've eliminated a day of Nerdy Dan. I'm no longer doing Nerdy Dan on Tuesdays at this point. I'm just doing Nerdy Dan on Thursdays. Just so I can do Mondays and Wednesdays here and have the same pretty much amount of streaming, but not, but kind of trying to put more content up on Liberal Dan to try and get this to get more traction, and maybe hopefully that will bring in more viewers, more subscribers, and hopefully that will then cause things to blow up in the good way. So, but yes, if you want to support the show other ways, there's the patron, patreon.com/liberaldan. You also have, you can buy me a cider, go to liberaldan.com, click the buy me cider button, or go to buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio. Venmo at liberaldan as well, or you can just scan the QR code as well. Let me go ahead and see about, I'm going to turn off the desktop audio for a smidge, just so I can see about finding the comment that I'm looking for without having y'all hear the videos as I'm talking. There should be a comment that I'm looking for, but I don't know where that comment frickin' is, and it's annoying the heck out of me that it was in my notifications, but it's no longer in my notifications, and it's frustrating me that it's not there. So, I mean, I could probably go into my videos, go to my analytics or whatever. Nerdy and dirty. that would be a whole that would be like a whole other different thing. Dirty Dan. That would be like, only Dan's. Let's see. Comments. There we go. Let's look at the comments and mentions and see. There we go. There it is. It's on that one. Is that one? Is it that one? I don't know. Let's pause this, try and find the comments. Let's see. Out there beneath the blue sky, Nerdy Dan, not dirty, LOL. After dark again, LOL. Wes, one of my son's friends, snuck his business stickers in the car. Richard Petty won his final race. Nice. Here's everything. Oh, here's this one. This one might be here's both of them. Here's these. This one's not going to be a short. So let's go back to the alternate because I finally found them. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's put the Venmo up and put that. Oh no, that's not right. That's click the Venmo thing and put no. Click Venmo. Put that here. We can make it bigger to hide all of the other things that you don't need to see because hey, why do you need to see them? You just need to see my stuff. So I can just... we'll just do it like that. That's fine. I really don't even need that on either, but the desktop audio. What happened? That's that. So let's there we go. Somehow I clicked the wrong thing. Cameras all over, yes. All right, so let's go over some of this stuff as well. All right, so here's another video where people are we're responding to comments that were made in response to a video that I made. So in this one, let's whatever doesn't understand the wage gap is the video that I created. And in the first video, this guy clearly did not listen to the video that I made because he goes, the wage gap is a myth. You Americans exported that myth to Western-oriented countries. It does not exist because it does not happen. If anyone facts you, get you 100% destroyed 100%. There's that argument that in a capitalist society, they would only hire women. the person who I responded to made that argument, and I responded to. Your kind of argument is that there are reasons beyond that. In that case, you would not hire women at all. No. There are people that do hire women because of certain reasons, and there are people who don't hire women because of reasons. It's not a black and white issue. That's the thing. Life isn't black and white. We have a situation in life where there's all sorts of shades of gray. There are decisions that people make in business, in life, in many sorts of reasons that are not the black and white that all of these conservative-minded folks want to make it out to be. It's not a simple yes, no, binary. Life is not binary. Gender's not binary. Life is not binary. It doesn't work like that. So just because the market works outside your beliefs, there's no way. The market doesn't work in like you believe either. The market is not as overly simplistic as y'all make it believe either. Y'all don't understand markets either. So then, I didn't know you could fit so much cope in the first 50 seconds of a video. LOL. And then, of course, my bad, the whole video. This might be the most brain-dead video I've seen on YouTube. Well, clearly he hasn't been on enough of YouTube because there's plenty of brain-dead stuff on YouTube. But, I mean, I don't think my posts were brain-dead, but at least this individual is doing more than just, saying things and just running away. This person is at least trying to break down a few things just for giggles. The wage gap, as commonly quoted, is the gap between men and women median earnings. Well, sure. I mean, I didn't argue against that. I even think I made the point that in some areas, women do earn more than men in some situations, but the reason that happens is because there are certain jobs that are considered to be women's jobs because of patriarchal standards. No other factors were accounted for, and the people who did the study literally said that the study couldn't be used to prove discrimination because they didn't explore additional factors such as adjusting for the actual same job with the same responsibilities, education level, experience level, total hours work, time off, blah, 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 blah. And fine, but those things, as the aggregate should still average out. But we still have it in society where you have a situation where you've had men being shunted into these high-powered jobs, and you have women being shunted into these lower-level jobs. So you at the end of the day, you're going to have men earning more money than women do. And we've seen situations. I've seen people in workplaces that have looked at the payroll and have seen people's salaries, and they are making, the women in those salaries or jobs are making less money. You had Lily Ledbetter versus Goodyear Tire, which you address later in the comments, where she proved that she was getting paid a discriminatory wage. So it happens. We know based on data that women are not likely to ask or fight for higher wages because they're generally less comfortable with direct confrontation. Now, is that why? Again, is it because they're not comfortable with direct confrontation? Or is it because that when women are bold or direct with how they ask for things, they are viewed as shrill or bossy or viewed in somehow as a negative? So they have to, in the corporate environment, walk this tightrope that requires them to behave in the perfect way. Don't be too aggressive because then you're seen as, not somebody who you can work with. But if you're not aggressive enough, then you're not seen as somebody who can cut it in the upper management level. So women are in the workplace have to walk this impossible tightrope that, is very difficult to walk. So maybe that's what you're saying. I don't know what data you're citing, but that I think a lot of the times when women are less likely to ask for or fight for those things, it's because they're concerned about how they're going to be viewed by management, because management holds these views that women are not supposed to be assertive, because women being assertive is still viewed as a negative thing because only men are supposed to be assertive, because in a patriarchal run society, the men are assertive and the women are not. And that's something that we need to get rid of. We know that women on average work fewer hours than their male counterparts. Why? Well, you're probably going to bring up because pregnancy issues, maybe. well, maybe if we stopped having a patriarchal society and we offered everybody, who if you're in a couple, if you're in a you're a heteronormative, cisgender couple, and your spouse is going to get off for parental leave, then both spouses should get off for parental leave and be able to take off, and both should have the same opportunities to be at home and take care of the kid and share in the responsibilities of taking care of the kid and taking care of the issues that need to be taken care of when, not just having to deal with, post labor, but even the time right before labor as well. But hey, what do I know? I'm just some, simp soy boy liberal or whatever. Men tend to call out less and take less sick and vacation time. I question where you're getting your data from. No idea where you're getting your data from about sick or vacation time. Like, if I'm sick, I take the day off. If I want to take I use my vacation time. When I get my vacation time, I take it. I make sure it's taken. While I believe maternity leave is certainly something companies factor into when hiring risk analysis, companies don't have to provide paid maternity leave as a benefit, but they should. But even when they do, they should also be providing paid paternity leave. They should be giving paid leave to all parents, regardless of if you actually have a birth. If you adopt a new child, you should also get paid leave for that too. But I know, and I'm a zany liberal for that one too, right? On the Goodyear tire case, nice reach all the way back to 2007, bro. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it's a nice reach, but it's a topic that is relevant to the conversation. It's a topic that shows that, this individual in the video went way back to 1963 to the law that supposedly banned discrimination based on sex or gender. So if he can go back to 63 for that reach, why can't I go back to 2007? So, and it just counters his point that, it's even though it's illegal to do wage discrimination, it still happens. See Ledbetter or whatever. We have previously declined to address whether Title VII suits are amenable to discovery rule because Ledbetter does not argue that such a rule would change the outcome of her case. We have no occasion to address this issue. Basically, the court said if Ledbetter could not have discovered this earlier, they would have held a pursuit. Conservative activist court, my ass. It is a conservative activist court. Because read the Ginsburg dissent. You did not read the Ginsburg dissent. Go read the Ginsburg dissent. She handles that. Let's see. The Ledbetter Act has virtually done nothing and hasn't been useful since. That's why I've never heard of anything before you mentioned. Well, maybe the reason you haven't heard of it is because it is doing something. Maybe because it actually has the teeth that is now enables people to be able to get their employers for past wage discrimination when found way back in the day. Now maybe employers are more careful about, not paying a discriminatory wage. Maybe that's what the hell's going on with this. Why is this being stupid? I don't know why that keeps closing. That's so weird. Anyway, I'll have to edit that out, I suppose. About 10-minute mark. So again, it's like you saying it's the same argument that Roberts made in Shelby versus Holder. Well, we don't need this because we haven't seen problems, so therefore it can go away. It's like, we don't need the levees in New Orleans because the Mississippi River hasn't flooded the city. Well, the reason that the Mississippi River hasn't flooded the city is because we have the levees. Your logic is not really on par there, dude. It's you have some problems there. See, last time I checked, women can choose their major when they go to college just like everyone else, and in fact are rapidly outpacing men in college. Education also directly correlates with higher income. Okay, well, now women may be outpacing men in college, And maybe at some point in the future, we'll be seeing more equity and more equality in the workplace, but it doesn't mean it's solved now, right? So we still have issues now, and we're working on solving them. And maybe the fact that there are more women going into college and more women seeking degrees, maybe part of that is, maybe that's part of the solution that gets fixed. But we still have these issues now that are being dealt with now, that can be dealt with now, that aren't solved by that. Dan doesn't really seem to understand basic economics. Okay. Or the vast majority of jobs don't look for the best person for the jobs. They look for the best that they can get for the most reasonable price, just like the rest of the consumers when you go to the store. Only the labor market is the store. You generally believe that misogyny is still so deeply ingrained in our business culture that business owners, especially small ones, would actively pass up a 30% savings in employment costs just because they somehow think a man is better for the job. You're insane and there's no hope for you. No, because there are still people who will say no to a woman being hired if they could get away with it, because they don't want to have to deal with those other issues of having to deal with somebody who might go on maternity leave and having to replace that work. Even if they could get the 30% discount in wages, they still have to consider, oh, well, if this person's going to go out on maternity leave, well, then I have to find somebody who's going to do that work while they're on a maternity leave. And then what if they leave and want to stay home for a year or two or whatever? Because that's what goes through their heads. Because that's what we hear all the time from the people who make the excuses as to why businesses do that. All the apologists for businesses will say all of those things. And now you're saying this. So you can't have it both ways. So I'm just citing what the apologists for businesses say when businesses refuse to hire women because of maternity issues. That's all I'm citing here. I'm not giving my opinion. I'm giving the opinion of the people who are trying to be apologists for businesses that don't hire women, even if they can get women to do the work at 30% less pay. It's as simple as that. They put the requirements in the job description. If you're a woman and you say you can lift 50 pounds repeatedly, they're going to hire you. Maybe, if they believe you. Maybe they don't believe you. Male-dominated professions will actively hire underqualified women just to fill a quota. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what your data is on that. Even in female-dominated professions, this is the case. I was a housekeeper as one of my early jobs. I remember one of the reasons I was hired because of the owner of the business, Gina, thought it would be good to have a man around. I can naturally assume for any heavier lifting or reaching the tallest places, sometimes men are just better suited for the job. I mean, maybe sometimes somebody with your body size may have been better suited, would have been somebody good for the job because maybe you could reach. Maybe if they would have found somebody who was in school for, and also was, maybe a basketball player or something and working off season, maybe that person would have been good for the job too if they were a woman. You don't know. While so many jobs the men are just suited require more physical labor, more risk of bodily harm, generally more necessary for the bare minimum functioning of society infrastructure, they're going to, can you guess it, be paid more. But that's the thing, is that we've shunted women away from these jobs. We've discouraged women away from these jobs. We don't know if we would have just said, look, do what you would like to do and go from there. And most of the problems with the pay inequity is on the job by job by job. It's not necessarily trying to compare somebody who's working as a software developer versus somebody working catching Opelia crabs off of the coast of Alaska versus somebody who's working as a waitress or as a server waiting tables. Like, we're not trying to compare those three positions and trying to say that all of them should have equality in pay. Like, no, they're three different positions doing three different types of work. But there's pay inequities in software development positions, and there's been a clear history of women who have been driven away from going into STEM careers, and now that's trying to be rectified because there are programs that are trying to make sure that women who are interested in STEM jobs can go after those STEM jobs. With the Opelio crab fishermen, if there are, I don't know what the interest there would be, but if there are people who are interested in going out and doing those jobs, they should be able to do those. If they're physically capable of doing those jobs, it shouldn't matter what gender they are. They should be able to do them. Doesn't matter, if they can do the work, they can do the work. And for servers, well, servers are servers. And again, a server working at like a Applebee's is going to probably make less than it's going to definitely make less than a server working at a 5-star or a 3-star Michelin restaurant or whatever. So again, a harder job is going to make more money, but we shouldn't be pushing people away from harder jobs simply because of their gender. We should be welcoming anybody to do a job as long as they're capable of doing it. And nothing specifically about somebody's gender can tell you that they can't do the job. Only an individual can determine whether or not they can do the job or not. And that's the point. So you say, please do better than this. Well, I'm suggesting that I did do better than this, that you're not listening to my point. So here's my counterpoint. You're more than welcome to respond, and I'll probably respond again. All your sins will be rearranged. Easy E. Menendez could rot in jail, then Trump did not buy a gun. Wish he had, then it would be in prison right now. Exactly. That's true. Maybe. You never know. You'd still have people defending him, especially the Trump gun nuts. That would be the case. So the Trump gun nuts would be doing that. We'll still be defending them. Hey, Benny, I didn't see you come in. I was too busy staring at the screen. Glad to see you here. Let's see. Human F being, good to see you too. Elizabeth, management is men. For the most part, yes. And there are some people who, in management, who do manage to make it to upper management who are women. And as I said, I think in one of my last videos, I talk about Meg Whitman. I don't like Meg Whitman at all. I think she's a horrible person for her politics. I've heard her apologia for her actions and the actions of eBay back in the day when eBay was justifying their inaction on fraud during her tenure. But I'm sure she had to deal with a lot of BS trying to climb the corporate ladder. I'm sure she had to walk that tightrope of, well, I can't be too bossy, or I can't show that I'm too aggressive or that I'm too assertive. I can't be too, can't be too loud about things. I can't make people think that I'm, overly, aggressive about my work because they're going to think that it's a negative for me. Even though a man doing the same thing would be seen as a go-getter. That guy is a go-getter. He gets things done. He grabs life by the horns or whatever other body part you might grab life by. And he gets things done. He's a good go-getter. And way to go, pal. And he'll be, slap him on the back. Good job. But then the same thing is done by a woman. Is like, she's too bossy. She's too bossy. She's just shrill. She just is somebody who just, why does this thing keep closing? That's bizarre. I don't even understand. I mean, it wasn't even open. But anyway, so let's see. But anyway, that's my point, is that even though I don't like her, I still can respect the fact that she probably had to go through a whole heck of a lot. Aaron West, lots of companies provide paid paternity leave. They do. More should, and it probably should be, I think it should be the law that they do. See, my nephew has 2 more weeks with his wife and a daughter before he has to go back to work. He's sad about it already. Like my wife got to take, she didn't get maternity leave per se, but she used her short-term disability. Like, she got to use her short-term disability to cover her maternity leave. Let's see. Benny Loco, someone on your stream said the other day to mix vinegar and baking soda to clear drains. Holy hell, that worked great. Yes, that does work great. I have used that many times. Usually it works. Sometimes it still doesn't, but you know. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you know.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Sometimes my button doesn't work either. Let's see. Yeah, David McCallum passed away. That's a shame. I just heard that right before I went on the air. I used to I watch NCIS. I've liked all of the NCISs. Speaking of awful women, Candace Owens is awful too. What about the lady who yanked Lucasfilms or tanked? I don't know. I mean, I'm liking Star Wars stuff now, Easy. Like Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, Ahsoka is awesome. Star Wars Rebels was awesome. Mandalorian was awesome. I mean, I'm digging the most recent shows. Some people don't like some of the shows that have been out. I mean, I understand some of it, but like Ahsoka has been really, really good. And part of the thing with Ahsoka is you kind of got to watch Rebels in order to catch a lot of it. But Rebels was really, really good too. She's okay with that, but she was a part of ruining. I don't know. Like, I mean, the last three are not my favorites, but I think I like them more than some of the other fandom do. But I'm a maybe more easy to please nerd. It is what it is. I'm sorry, that's Donald's line.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Yes, Rosario Dawson is great in the latest series. Makes a great Ahsoka. And what else? I mean, the fact that you've got... I don't want to give away any spoilers for any of the things that went on in the show if you haven't caught up with Ahsoka, but the fact that you've gotten to see a bunch of the stuff... you know, it's a great show to watch. Even if you haven't watched Rebels, I think it still would be a good show to watch, but you're not going to get some of the things that the show deals with. Because Ahsoka is basically, what, season 5 of Rebels? Or whatever, the next season of Rebels without some of the characters. So, anywho. Now it's only 9:30. Wow. Got through several topics. Got 2 response videos done. We might go over some shorts. We might do some more shorts if nobody objects. Start watching TV shows. Yeah, you have to do with it. Disney Plus has a deal right now, though, I think. I think there's a deal going on where it's super cheap right now. Look into the deal. It's like 90-something. What's the current? Let me look that up. Current Disney Plus promotion. Disney Plus limited time offer. Oh, I think it ended on the 20th. It was $1.99 a month for 3 months. I don't know if it's still available. I mean, I have Disney and Hulu, so it's kind of bundled in together. I don't have the grand Hulu thing because I also have Disney. I also have whatchamacallit, DirecTV Stream, but anyway, Cenk Younger is such a pain in the ass, too. Oh my god. Like, he looks at one poll that's an outlier, and he's like, Biden's gonna lose, he should step down. Such a sky is falling. Pain in the neck. Yes, Disney does have commercials, unfortunately, but I think Disney Stream did drop some of the toxic Nazis, which is good. I don't know if they dropped all of the toxic Nazis, but they did drop some of them. Which made me laugh. I got to hear them cry about all that stuff, which is good. So let's see. Let's pull up that other video again, or that other screen again, as if I'm from Canada. We can do a couple shorts. I think it makes sense. I don't want to do one of the long ones, but I do want to do some of the maybe a few of the shorts. Let's start it where the shorts start. Because I did get an interesting link from somebody. One of the people in one of the groups that I'm in shared a good link to because all of these so-called alpha folks, shared basically based this idea on the whole idea of wolves and how wolves have alpha males and who lead the pack, and this article basically says, no, we were wrong. There's no alpha males. It's a misunderstanding of the entire thing. So all of their thoughts on the whole idea of an alpha is just completely out of whack, and they're stupid. They're wrong. Gina Carano royally screwed up. You don't call Disney or go after Jews when Disney was blamed for being Hitler friendly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Gina Carano had it made in the shade. She had the part in Deadpool. She could have come in in that franchise and been, and I don't think she died in Deadpool 2, or was it Deadpool 1? I don't think she died in the first Deadpool. She had the part in The Mandalorian. She had it made in the shade. She could have had this great vow, and then she had to go ahead and mock. She had to mock pronoun usage. She had to mock, all that stuff. She had to mock Disney, and then all of a sudden, oops, she's not. And then she was in that horrible movie that did stupidly poorly, and well, you get what you get, right? Nope, I copied the wrong thing. Get what you get, and you don't do a fit, or is that how it goes? Silly Wonka, it's all right. Let's see. Blum 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 blum. I'll have to read that comment later. There's one of the people I had on my show previously, Mandy Landry, has two opponents that's running against her. One, Madison O'Malley, and the other one, I forget his name now. I've invited both. I've invited Madison O'Malley on the show. She canceled last minute. I've re-invited her back on the show, especially after there was a WDSU Channel 6 in New Orleans debate between the three of them. The other guy who's running, and again, I forget his name off the top of my head because it was the first time I'm really hearing of him, but he's done some work with some addiction stuff, so I think it'd be a good idea to just, have him on the show just to be fair to all of the candidates. I've invited all of them on. We'll see if he'll come on. We'll see if we can get him to talk about his, what he works on and his plans, for that seat as well. But Madison O'Malley also, want to give her the opportunity if she wants to come back on and talk about some of the stuff, and if she denies it, we're going to go over some of the stuff that was said in the WDSU debate and see what she said, and maybe go over what she was talking about in that debate, because I had a couple of issues. So Hey, Jojo Mojo Jojo. Television, the Benny Loco Television's why we're at where we now. Keep feeding the beast. You gotta have some entertainment. I mean, I would love for everybody to stop watching television to start watching Liberal Dan Radio Talk from Left That's Right, but that hasn't happened yet. So, if more people started watching Liberal Dan Radio Talk from Left That's Right, then I would have less time to watch TV, and I would have to put more time into making my shows. So there's that. Andrea, how you doing, Andrea? Good to see you as well. Glad you could join us. All right. I do have HBO Max for free twice because of two different, like I have DirecTV Stream and I have my phones. So I have HBO Max twice, which is silly. But, all right, let's head back to these videos again. Let's move things around again to make it look as if it could fit into a short or whatever. We'll keep that up there as well for the bigger videos, I guess, too. All right. So again, we've got the shorts going, and let's see. I don't know if I realized that you had heart surgery, Jeff. I'm sorry you're having problems with it. I think some of the things I do watch are only available on cable. If it wasn't, I'd find other ways to do it. But I mean, it's not cable; it's the DirecTV Stream thing. But I don't know. It's the cheapest version of what I have out there. It's the cheapest thing available. Like, I don't know. If I could watch everything for free on YouTube, I'd watch everything for free on YouTube. So, sorry you have a headache, Andrea. So let's see. So this is Modern Woman Thinks Her Past Doesn't Matter. So this is again the Whatever podcast. So we'll start recording and then we'll refresh and we'll cut these in the bits, in the itty bitty bits as well, in thy mercy to cite whatever. Benny, look, what WTF did we do before television? We reacted as humans were supposed to, running on human programming instead of paid programming. I guess, but you know, we also had small little villages and not big cities, and we did lots of other things too. So, you know, it's kind of hard to compare the time, so to speak. Appreciate you, TV2. Have a good one. Appreciate you sharing stuff. Go subscribe to TV2 Live as well if you haven't done so already. Friend of the show. All right, so let's start recording. So here we are, another reaction video to one of the shorts. This is from the Whatever podcast as well. Modern Woman Thinks Her Past Doesn't Matter. Does her past matter? We shall see.
In this industry, I'm single until I retire.
But it will still matter.
I don't...
Oh, it's Candace Owens, too. There we go. It's Candace Owens. You get a double whammy. It's Candace Owens on Whatever.
plan on doing this or getting married or finding the love of my life until I retire, like truthfully. And then after that, I will be honest and truthful with the person that I will be getting married to or whatever. It'll be up to him to accept that. So,
and I'm just saying that men's natural proclivity is to not accept that.
I mean, maybe the men who you hang out with and you choose to participate with is to not accept that. I'm sure there are plenty of men who will accept that. And the men who won't accept that are not going to be people who she's going to want to marry anyway. So it'll automatically, and if she's going to be honest and open and upfront about her previous employment and not lie about it, what's wrong with that? There's perfectly acceptable for her to say, look, this is what I did in the past. I'm no longer doing it now. And I just want you to know that this is what I used to do, and I'm no longer doing it. And you could either accept it and date me or not accept it and not. And if they don't accept it, then it's not the right person for her. Okay. But there are going to be other people who do accept it, and that's fine too. And I'm sure all the people who agree with Candace Owens are going to not want to date her, and I'm sure she's not going to want to date anybody who thinks Candace Owens is a good person.
Because it brings them shame. If you look at people like Emily Ratajkowski, she's obviously hot, but this is a woman who's now trying to make divorce chic, and I think that the understanding is in Hollywood is, sleep with her and move on.
It brings them. Why does it bring? Or does this bring the men shame? Why would it bring the men shame? Like, come on. Like, it's a ridiculous thing. You're perpetuating a toxic mindset that, just because you've done X, Y, and Z, it has to bring you shame. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't have to marry her, you don't have to be with her, but you don't have to shame other people for their choice in consensual activities. And this is being really slow for some reason. I don't know why it's lagging this badly.
She's not marriage material. This is why women struggle to get married when they've made themselves available on OnlyFans, because
she's not marriage material. Well, I mean, to me, Candace Owens is not marriage material because she's not somebody that I would ever want to marry if I was single, because she is somebody that I would disagree with vehemently on a lot of things, and is not somebody with whom I would want to raise a family with. I'm sure I'm not somebody that she would want to raise a family with. Marriage material is unique to the individual. It's not something that can be defined for a group. What somebody's marriage, what is marriage material to one person is not marriage material to another person. And we shouldn't be defining what marriage material is as a whole. Simple as that. This is going to require editing.
Because other men don't want to share. They don't want to share their wife. They maybe...
She hasn't spent enough time on the internet. There's plenty of people out there that do share their wives. I mean, has she not heard of swingers at all? Like, come on, Candace. Pull your head out of wherever it is.
Will share their girlfriend. They might think it's fun to date a stripper for a little bit. They might think, oh, this means I'm going to have 12 times a day. But then when it gets down to just their biological instincts, it's actually quite embarrassing for them as a man, because they can look up your girl and here she is.
Why? Who is Candace Owens to tell a man that he should be embarrassed for what his wife or girlfriend did? Like, that's part of that. She is just perpetuating toxic masculinity. She is telling men that they should be embarrassed for what somebody they're dating used to do. Why? It's up to them as to whether or not they want to accept that or not, and society shouldn't be dictating what they should or shouldn't feel embarrassed about. Is if the couple has an honest discussion and they're fine with it, it shouldn't be anybody else's business. Get out of their lives. I thought Candace, you're somebody who believes that society should be out of people's lives, or is it just government? You want government out of people's lives, but society can be all up in their lives? That's hypocritical. This week's Hypocrite of the Week is Candace Owens. Yeah. Shut up, Candace. Candace thinks she's sweet Polly Purebed. Yeah. Candace Owens is definitely one of those people who one would call a pick-me. Like, they, I'm going to say all the right things, so they will pick me. Although she did feud with, what's his face? The one that got a divorce or was getting a divorce because he was abusive to his wife. What's his name? I've done a reaction video to him too. So, let's see. Let's mute this a second while this loads. Wait, this is the same thing? Oh, that's because I pasted over that instead of copying. That helps. Helps if I actually don't copy over the thing I want to paste over. Ooh. So, just a warning. As a Candace and Bear should be calling her... I'm not going to say repeat that, but you know, it's like a Biden thing. If you vote for Trump, you ain't whatever. Yeah, Candace Owens is slut shaming. I mean, all these people slut shame. That's part of toxic masculinity is slut shaming. It includes slut shaming. Benny Loco, why get married if you're going to sleep around? Well, I mean, if it works for the couple, it works for the couple. If you, I'm not going to judge anybody else for their decisions, and if as long as everybody consents, what does it matter? If two people or more, I mean, there are people that are part of polyamorous relationships where multiple people are dating each other. You have thruples. You have all these other possibilities of individuals who they either have alternate type ethical non-monogamy is the word we're looking for. So I know plenty of people that are ethically non-monogamous, and it's perfectly fine as long as everyone consents, everyone's honest with it. Shouldn't be a big deal. Stephen Crowder, yes, thank you, Stephen Crowder. Thank you very much. Yeah, people do make money slut shaming. Benny Loco can't write slut. Slur. You can do it, Benny Loco. I have faith in you. Fourth time's the charm, or are you just gonna give up? Is it voice to text that's giving you the problem, or is it just like you're just fat fingering it? Fat fingers, yes. I have the same issue. My thing is, like, I'll type something with my fingers and it will say exactly what I want it to say, and then before I hit send, the phone will be like, no, you really meant to say this. And then it'll change it before I hit send. I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted to type. Dummy. Calling me a slut. I'm the slut. Hell, I called men sluts in one of the last ones. I was calling all men sluts because of how they just throw themselves at women all the time in the attempts to try and get somebody to sleep with them. So anyway, fair warning. I guess I should say this before. Fair warning in this one. I mean, obviously you see the word up there. This is going to have some salty language in it. So just to let you know, this is going to have some salty language, so please make sure to if you don't have headphones in, if you have kids around, you might want to shut their ears or get them out the room or whatever if you don't want them hearing the wordy dirds, so to speak. So let's go ahead and restart the video so we can hear it from the beginning, and then we'll go ahead and criticize Myron and his fresh and fit ideas.
Want to fuck someone that assists you. That's your partnership.
I love how.
Well, partnership. I don't like to use the word partnership with the persons that he would be in a dating situation with, because I don't think that he could ever have a partnership. But let's continue.
Oh, that's what the only piece.
Well,
of
that's what it
information she got
seems
from
like
that.
to me. Or you can explain it.
Well, the thing is, I understand that as a man, I need to have the leverage. I need to be the leader. I need to be the dominant for her to actually respect me and want to be with me and submit to me.
So that's the thing. That's the thing. He needs to have all of those things in order to have somebody submit to him, because that's the only way he can have a relationship with somebody. Because the only way that he can have a relationship with somebody is to exert dominance and control over them. Because anybody who would be on an equal footing with him, which wouldn't be difficult, because educated people would easily surpass him, but anybody on an equal footing with him would still see, okay, this guy is not somebody I would want to be with. So he needs to be able to exert dominance over somebody and gaslight and to some point what I see as abuse, emotionally, maybe even sexually, because he's in previous videos said that his wife, his girlfriend or whatever, should be putting out whenever he wants her to. So, and I think that's problematic in and of itself. So that's the only way he can be in a relationship, is if he's going to be able to have that control, that love, that dynamic, that control. Because he doesn't have the personality to be able to have a relationship of equals. That's his excuse for coming up with this farce of an alpha situation.
So knowing this, I have to have certain mannerisms and behaviors that stay congruent to that. I mean, if you're a leader, someone has to be subordinate to you.
Basically, he needs to be a dick, and he has to continue being a dick to make sure that the person who he's, quote, with will just stay a battered, abused, not physically. I'm not going to say that he physically abuses people, but emotionally just stays down and knows her place, because that's the type of relationship that he wants, where he is in control and she just does whatever he wants. Because the way the individual who made her comment at the beginning worded her argument is pretty much spot on from all of the videos that I've seen of him so far. That's what he wants, because he can't have a relationship with somebody who is educated, who can exert their own personality. He doesn't want somebody with life experience who actually knows better. He doesn't want somebody with sexual experience who can know what good sex is like, because God forbid they know how it is to be with somebody who can please them, so he can have lazy sex with them and they wouldn't know the difference.
So she feels trapped, like she can't do anything else.
Exactly. He wants somebody who is going to be trapped so she can't leave. Therefore, she's stuck with him until he decides to let her loose, because that's what they never talk about. They never talk about at what point they decide to let them go, and then they move on to the next younger version of that person, and then this person has nothing else to do.
No one's putting a gun to her head saying, hey, you have to stay with me.
Yeah.
Well, no, nobody's putting a gun to her head, but you're basically making her feel like she's a worthless human being. You're gaslighting her into thinking that she has no other options except to do whatever it is that you want her to do, that she has to follow your lead because you're the leader, and then the moment that she becomes something that you're not, as the moment that she stops being a high-value woman, as you would put it, you can just discard her and throw her to the curb, and then find the next high-value woman to dominate and gaslight and emotionally abuse and trick into thinking that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread and she can't do any better than you, so therefore why should she even try? And then cut her off from all of her friends and cut her off from any guy friends especially, and that would be the end of it. And then so this next one is then stuck with no other options in life because you've removed all the options, because you don't want them getting an education, you don't want them getting a career, you don't want them doing anything except being your own personal stay-at-home sex slave.
She could choose to leave at any time. Okay. The thing is that when you are that guy, she's not going to go anywhere because she knows that she could be replaced. Women typically get in line when you have other women in line. You'd be surprised at how, being in your frame, women will go ahead and follow you.
And then, but that's the thing, there's that threat. If you don't get in line, I'm just going to replace you. That is manipulation. That is abuse. That is emotional abuse right there. If you telling somebody, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm just going to go find somebody else. And if they don't feel like they have a way out, then they'll be like, okay, that's abuse. That is emotional abuse right there. Classic case. So he's just admitting to everybody in the world that he is an emotional abuser. And that's the only way he can keep a woman, because he doesn't have any other ways to maintain any sort of relationship. Because, and I put it in quotes because, again, it's not really a relationship. It's just a breathing sex doll. That's all he wants. Just doesn't have the blue hair, likely, like the whatever doll. And then again, once he's done with her, once she stops being a high-value woman, however he defines that, maybe she gets to be 27 or 28, and oh no, maybe he sees the next 18 to 20-year-old coming around. Now this one's better. He's going to start either putting on more pressure. You better do this. You better do this. No, I'm just going to kick you to the curb now. I'm going to find somebody else. Good luck. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And this is the type of person, this is the type of toxicity that he breeds. And this is why it's important to fight this. And this is why it's important to call out this for what this is. And this is why it's important not just for, I mean, it's great that she is calling it out for what it is, because it is clearly what she's saying what it is. But it's also important for men to call it out for what it is, because if we don't do it, other men aren't going to see us doing it, and other men are just going to be like, oh, well, she's just a woman. What does she know? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to listen to Myron. No. The men need to hear us men talking about it and say, look, oh, well, maybe if the guys are rejecting it, maybe there's something to be said about that, because the men that he is talking to, the men that he targets, already don't like women to begin with. They already have problems with women. They have huge problems with women. They've had problems dating, and they never take the blame on themselves. They never have any self-introspection and be like, oh, well, maybe the problem with me dating and why I can't find anybody to date is because of the issues that I have personally. It's got to be with the other person. It's got to be the woman. It's got to be all the women that I've tried to date. It's all their problem. It's nothing to do with me, right? So they're not going to be listening to what a woman says when she is trying to point out the flaw in Myron's ideas and how a man should act in a relationship. That's why it's vitally important for guys to call out this toxicity, to be able to say, look, this is not how relationships are supposed to go. This is not how you have a good quality relationship with somebody who you're in a partnership with. This is not how you respect and keep somebody you're going to value. Somebody that I value is somebody I treat as an equal, not somebody I treat as a subordinate. If somebody is a subordinate, that's not somebody I value. I wouldn't have somebody that I value that I would treat as a subordinate. I wouldn't want to treat anybody as a subordinate, regardless. Anyway. Anyway, let's scroll back up to the scroll back up before we find the next. Let's see. I already saw some tiggle bitties. 50 Shades of Grey kink. He wants a woman he can make a submissive in bed and abuse. I mean, I don't necessarily think he wants to do BDSM type stuff. I don't think he wants to actually have like whips and chains and stuff like that. And but here's the thing. If there's a situation where he wanted to have that sort of relationship and that sort of sexual dynamic with somebody he's with, I don't think you could have consent. I don't think that you could actually have consent for that sort of behavior, because in order for there to be consent, there has to be a real meeting of the minds. She would have to have the ability to say no. She would have to feel like she has the ability to say, no, I don't want this. But if he is manipulative and abusive, if he's somebody that he's going to use that power that he has over her to make her say, well, if you don't do this things that I want, I'm going to kick you to the curb. So she feels that she either has to do these things for him sexually or she's going to be kicked out and left destitute on the street or whatever. Then that's emotional abuse. And then anything that he does afterwards sexually would then be rape, because she could not consent to it. And they're not going to see it. They're not going to understand it, because they're going to think, oh, well, she said yes, so she didn't say no. Well, because she didn't feel like she could say no. If you don't feel like you can say no because of what might happen if you say no, any yes is meaningless and it's not consent. Easy E, little D energy here. Now, I'm not a fan of body shaming unless that's your kink. If your kink is having yourself be body shamed, then by all means, go for it. But I'm not necessarily a fan of body shaming. However, what I have said before, though, is that it's clear that people like this don't know how to satisfy their women. And that's why they have to keep them on lockdown like this, because that's the only way. They want them to be sexually inexperienced, and they don't want them to be like hanging around with any other men, because they're afraid that if they hang around with other men, they might realize, oh, well, it's different with other men. Oh, he treats me nicer. He treats me better. He treats me like a human being. He treats me like somebody who actually has value beyond what's between my legs and what's, on my chest. Jeff Curry, what is this sex you speak of? Well, if you look at the IKEA catalog and you see that you put tab A into slot B, that's the easy E. This guy will abuse a woman, red flags over. Of course. He'll get married but never be happy. No, here's the thing. He'll get married and he'll pretend, he'll believe he's happy because he's going to have what he views as happiness and success is his status and his whatever money he makes from his Fresh and Fit podcast, because he gets like $100 super chats all the time. Well, he used to until they got demonetized on YouTube. All of his, incels and MRA and MGTOW type folks who send him all this money because they think all what he says is great, and they're going to keep supporting him because they think he's awesome, and he's going to keep making all of this money based off of all of his theories on what relationships should be like, and he's going to keep having all of these women on his thing and on his channel, and he probably is going to keep having them having all these low-cut dresses and showing off all their cleavage, so all of his incel folks can drool over the fact that he has all these attractive women with their boobs hanging out that he then insults the entire time, and they're like, oh, that's what I wish I could do. That's what I wish I could do. And then he's going to sit there and he's going to have somebody at home who's just going to fall for his BS, who's going to be abused, who's going to do whatever he wants to do, and it's going to be a damn shame because she's going to be, at some point, be left behind and be replaced for a younger model, and she's going to be kicked off on the curb, and the only thing that she's going to know is being some so-called alpha male's person, but because she was with Myron, now she's no longer a virgin. She's somebody who's been, cast aside, so therefore she's not going to be seen as somebody who is high value anymore, so therefore she's going to have to settle for something somewhat less. And less than Myron is not a lot. Let's see. Be nice if some lady just slapped the snot out of him. I mean, maybe. Research the effect of porn in boys and young girls. It's all there. Their phones, little hands we speak. That's why I make sure, like, my kids have phones, but I make sure to tell my son, I was like, look, if anybody sends you anything that has adult material on it, you let us know, and you delete, and you make sure it gets deleted, because first of all, you're not old enough to be seeing it, and second of all, if it's of somebody who's of your age, you can get in trouble and we can get in trouble. So it needs to be reported to the authorities immediately if that ever happens to you. So I made sure that they know that. He's the black version of Trump. He wants a wife and do nothing to oppose him and be the trophy wife and be there only for his sexual needs. Pretty much. Benny Loco, I'll be 63 in December. Wait, no. Benny, you're not going to be 63 in December. Don't lie in the chat. I don't believe you. You are not that old. Shut up. Let's see. Andrew, he might be like Trump, low self. He has very low self-esteem. That's the thing. One of the other videos that I responded to, I mean, he literally said he doesn't want anybody that he dates to hang out with any other men because the other man might want to sleep with his girlfriend or his wife. I'm like, well, just because some other dude wants to sleep with your girlfriend or your wife, it doesn't mean that she's going to do it. If you don't trust that the person you're in a relationship with is going to stay faithful to the terms of your relationship, then what does that say about you? You're not really an alpha. There's no such thing as an alpha, but are you really an alpha by your own definition? If your woman is going to cheat on you the first chance she has? I don't think so. Let's see. I like that how distinguishes that Trump has low self-esteem. Men won't do it because they're afraid of the narcissist. They won't do it. They see it, but they don't. Wait, what? I'm not sure what you said there, Andrea. I'm not quite sure what you said there. Let's see. Do we want to do one more? It's 10 already. Do we want to do one more? I'm upset I haven't gotten to the Pick Me Pearl ones yet. We'll eventually get there. I'm hoping this one is going to be one of those. Let's see. Is it going to be? It is not. It is not. It's another Fresh and Fit. Boo. One of these days we'll get there. Maybe I don't have shorts with her. Maybe I only have regular sized videos with her. But I like doing the shorts because it's easy to just get a quick snap and a quick video of it and boom, 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 done. So let's flip this back on. Go back to the alternate. So this one is supposedly, according to the Fresh and Fit podcast, women have dating on easy mode from Fresh and Fit Miami. So let's see what Myron has to say with his pearls of wisdom on this one. Shall we? Wait for it to reload.
This is why I don't feel sorry for girls that stay single or don't get married or whatever. Like, everything you need to attract the man you're born with.
Yeah.
Just don't be annoying. Don't be a slut. Be cute. Go to the gym. Take care of yourself. Keep yourself attractive.
So basically, nothing in your brain has anything to do with finding yourself a man. It's all the physical. Again, he just wants a walking vagina with boobs. Like, that's all he wants. Nothing more than that. That's how shallow of a life he's going to lead.
And that's it. And you'll get a guy that will...
What kind of guy? I mean, that you're not going to get a good guy. I mean, you're going to wind up with this schmuck.
Take you seriously and maybe marry you. Like, that's all you got to do. And don't be a pain in the ass. Be an asset to his life. Don't be a liability.
If you want to knock his socks off, just simply understand what he wants and give him that. Simple.
Yeah, man.
Just understand what you... And there doesn't need to be any other way. There's nothing, he doesn't have to understand what she wants, because that doesn't play any part in it. She just has to give him what he wants, and that's it. There's no requirement of her getting what she wants at all. Nothing.
Like, shutting the fuck up is a huge skill set for a lot of modern day women, but they want to talk.
Do it.
And that's where he doesn't want to hear. He just wants them to be quiet and have sex. Stay quiet unless you're in the bedroom, I guess. What a way to live your life there, Myron.
Like, bro, we don't want to talk with y'all.
My opinion matters.
Who's this we? I love having conversations with my wife. I have great conversations with my wife. We have wonderful conversations. It's wonderful to have a good, intelligent conversation with your partner. You're missing out, bro.
Yo, like, let's communicate. This is why I don't feel sorry for girls that...
All right, so there you go. He just wants a walking, talking vagina and doesn't want to have any sort of, nothing up here matters to him. Whatever. That's why any relation with him is going to suck. Let's see. Why is this acceptable on YouTube? Well, he did get demonetized. So let's see if we can find that one. Myron Fresh Fit Demon demonetized. That's funny. Let's see. That's a 22-minute video. Is this one going to be quicker? That's a 26-minute video. This was a short. Let's see.
According to reports, the Fresh and Fit podcast has been demonetized by YouTube. The podcast has faced previous demonetization.
Let's see, that's not... I want to see him crying. Let's see.
We got some bad news, man.
According to reports, the Fresh and Fit podcast...
That's... Hold on.
We got some bad news, man.
It is what it is, man. Myron cried? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Wait, Chad, Myron's crying? Are they really that fucking... Wait, so what happened with Fresh and Fit?
Yeah, we are...
No way he cried. Right, he's not crying. So basically... Yeah, basically they lost their partner program on YouTube. It is what it is. They got demonetized. It is what it is.
It is what it is. He stole Donald Trump's line. Let's see. This was a shorter video. Let's see.
When you're launching a new product with a tight deadline.
Commercial. Walk-in vagina. That's easy. I can't do a good enough Christopher Walken imitation for me to be able to do that good. Do that well, I guess. I don't answer ads from any Google product. Let's see.
Oh, we don't even know why.
We don't know the specific reason. When you guys send me your DMs and say, yo, you saved my life. Yo, you send me a picture of your credit score. Yo, my girl is making sandwiches now, or whatever it is, right?
No comment.
We've helped a lot of you guys from killing yourselves, from making a really bad decision. What I'm asking you guys is, just like we've saved you guys, we need you guys to save us. Guys, it's gotten to the point now where even where we shoot the location doesn't want us to stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to say that. I really didn't want to have to admit that. Dude, there is like, there is a matrix, man. Like, people don't want you guys to get this message.
Okay.
People don't want you to get this message, man. Anyway, but yeah, why is it acceptable on YouTube? I mean, why is it getting promoted on YouTube? I don't know why it's promoted on YouTube. I don't know at all. All I do know, I mean, there was at some point where for a long time I was wanting to make videos on like men's rights advocates and men going their own way and incels and stuff like that. Not necessarily on these particular, like the whatever channel and the Fresh and Fit people, more focusing on the folks who like worry more about like false rape accusations and who put undue weight on those topics and more of the like the men going on the way and the people just out and outright just hating feminism and like the people that hate like family court and who don't want like, you know, who think child support is you know unfair to men, when in reality the reason that they might have a perceived problem with child support rulings is because society is a patriarchal thing that treats women as if they're the default child raisers, and as such they're going to by default get custody, and so if they're getting custody then the men are the ones that are going to pay child support. So that's why you see that happening. It's not because of feminism, it's because of the patriarchy. So if you support feminism and support equal gender roles, you'll be more likely to see, you know, equal custody arrangements where people share in custody and yada, yada, yada. So that's more of what I wanted to do. But I kind of was holding off on it because I was, again, wanting to respond to these dill holes really wasn't on my top of my priority list because, again, they're dill holes. And it's not something that I necessarily wanted to have to deal with on any given day. But for some reason, YouTube decided that it wanted... There was like a thing on YouTube today on like CBS This Morning, and it was like, we like to make sure that to give the people on YouTube videos that might interest them. I'm like, why does YouTube think that these videos are going to interest me? But for some reason, YouTube decided that I really wanted to see videos from the Whatever podcast, videos from the Fresh and Fit podcast, videos from Pearl. We haven't gotten to the Pearl ones yet, but those, that's like next level pick me stuff. But, you know, but because I'm seeing all these things, other people must be seeing them all as well. And I don't understand. They're demonetized, yet I'm seeing all their garbage. Yet, so one of my lines of thinking and reasoning is, and maybe I'm wrong, but if I start responding to this stuff that I'm seeing a lot, if this stuff is getting traction, maybe my responding to it will cause my channel to get traction too. That's kind of my thought process here. If this is the stuff that gets views, that YouTube is going to push to people for whatever reason, maybe responding to it will also help get me traction. Am I right? We'll see. I have noticed more comments from people on my videos since I started putting these up. So, and I have noticed a slight uptick in some. I mean, I was at like 720. Now I'm at like I jumped a little bit in the past few days. Not a lot, but a little. So maybe if I keep doing it, maybe it'll have a snowballing effect, and maybe I'll eventually get to the point where I can have both the enough views and subscriptions to hit the partner program and be able to then start that ball running. If it doesn't work, and if I'm wrong, maybe I'll stop doing this, and maybe I'll go back to reacting to crap like Josh Bernstein and other people like that. But, you know, easy. That's why Hal likes trolls. Exactly. I mean, that, you know, every time somebody comes in with just this video sucks, I'm just like, thank you for helping the algorithm. That's just it. Now again, if they come up with a longer thing, I'm more than happy to make a video in response to them. I'm more than happy to have a debate with somebody I disagree with. As y'all know, I talked to Joe Gibson. I think the thing with Demonox and Yosh may be happening in a few Tuesdays. I think he was expecting it to happen this Tuesday, but it's not. I think not this Tuesday, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday afterward. Might be when that happens. We'll see. But see, Hal likes the trolls because he doesn't care who's watching as long as they're watching. I mean, if they're watching, that's views. And in order to be monetized, you need 4,000 views, 4,000 hours worth of views in 12 months. And currently, I'm not there yet. But if I were to get 270 more subscribers with the current amount of videos that I have out there, I might be there at some point soon. So we'll see. So let's see. Jeff Curry, walking vagina sounds like a good name for a food truck. I mean, I missed the walk. I saw the walk-in vagina comment, which made me like, I can't do a good enough Christopher Walken comment. Although the walk-in vagina, that's the whole Colonel Angus bit, which is, you know, which is hilarious. But if you haven't seen the whole Colonel Angus bit from Saturday Night Live, go look up the Colonel Angus bit. It's freaking hysterical. But Jeff, I'm sure you'd appreciate this comment, but the walking vagina food truck sounds like some place that I would enjoy eating. Anyway. Let's see. You can tell YouTube what to send you, but you have to do it. I guess. I don't know. I'd have to go check it out. Andrea, F you, dude, go get an inflatable. Oh, these. I mean, the men are terrible. I figured you were behind on the stream, Andrea. Jeff Curry, I'm in a very red area. I love effing with his people that think I'm MAGA. I'll spread the word. Sparklers need to watch you. Yeah, I mean, I'd appreciate any of the help that I could get. And I've already said that if the sparklers are the ones that make me hit 1,000 viewers, I'm going to make it rain in house channel. So I'm going to put some Twitch subscriptions up there. I'm going to put some YouTube subscriptions out there. So, full of yeasty breads. I don't know if I want the yeasty breads from the vagina food truck. From the walk-in vagina food truck. We're just going off the rails at this point. Anyway. So I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Anyway. I guarantee you that Myron has never done that before. And I would bet money that Myron has never done that in his life. Myron probably says that if you do that, you're a simp, beta cuck, or whatever. If you perform that sexual act on a woman, that you are probably some simp, beta cuck, soy boy, or something. I would probably bet $10 on it at least. Not a lot, but I'd probably bet at least $10 on it to say like he probably has never done that. Because it would require him enjoying giving pleasure to somebody other than himself. And I can't see him at all ever wanting to do that.
It is what it is.
Just like him. I guarantee you that he, I'd be surprised if... Myron's probably the one that, who would never be able to find the spot either. So... Anywho. I think that's about it. I do need to prep for Wednesday show to make sure that the guest on Wednesday show has the information for Wednesday show. And try and upload some of these videos. And I have something to do tomorrow morning, so I need to make sure I'm in bed early enough to get a reasonable amount of sleep. And I have probably a little bit of work to do tonight, maybe before I go to bed, maybe. Or at least get it done in the morning. Maybe. We'll see. Anywho. So, that is the end of today's episode of Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from Enough, that's right. I will be back Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central because we are now doing 2 days a week, Mondays and Wednesdays here on YouTube and on Blog Talk Radio. Again, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and go interact with the videos. Like videos, share videos, become a Liberal Dan Radio patron, Venmo me if you want to support me that way, buy me a cider, liberaldan.com, click the buy me a cider button, go to buymecoffee.com/liberaldanradio. But the best thing to do, tell your friends to subscribe to our channel. I'm trying to get to 1,000. That's the most important thing you can do at this